Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mid-Atlantic Bowling League's Chaos Cup. We're in week number 5, and we've got two great games tonight, a doubleheader tonight. We're going to start the evening with a very bashy one. We're going to have the Tizz Orc Savage Boys versus the Dinnerbell Darlings, Tizzle Bizzle versus Doug the Minotaur, Orcs versus Dwarves. It's going to be great. Let's take a look at the standings before we take a look at the rosters of these two teams. In Division A, BB Nuts Believe Broncos finally gaining that first place spot. They were very close behind Ajax's The Fishy Fiends. They are now in first place. They're a Nurgle team with a record of 4-1-0. Ajax's Fishy Fiends are a Chaos Renegades team. They are in second with a record of 3-1-1. And JD Whitey's Blitzburg Steelers, they're a Skaven team. They are 1-2-0 here in week number 5. In Division B, Spire's Philosophers Club is a Lizard team in first place. They are 3-2-0. S. Beaver's Wooden Men and Iron Trees are a Wood Elf team. They are 2-2-0. And Cobblestorm's Goner Gits are a Goblin team who are 2-1-0. The top three all undefeated in Division B. And we're going to start the evening in Division C tonight with the first place team, Doug the Minotaur's Dinnerbell Darlings. They're a Dwarven team. They are 4-0-0. In second place is Clyphus's Odin. It's Nuffle. They're a Norse team. They are 3-0-0. And Moob's NC Snakes are a Dark Elf team. They are 2-2-0. The home team this evening are going to be the Savage Boys. They have 11 players on their roster. They're coming in at an even 1 million gold in team value. They have 4 blitzers, 4 big and blockers, 3 linemen, an apothecary, 2 fan factor, 2 rerolls. They're going to be up against the visiting team, the Dwarves of the Dinnerbell Darlings, also with a full 11 players on the roster. They have a TV of 1,110,000 gold. That's 110,000 gold in petty cash that will be going back to the Orcs tonight. I think I know what we're going to do with this money. We'll talk about that in just a minute. They have the Runner, the Troll Slayer, 2 Blitzers, and a bunch of linemen, 1 Oppo, 6 dedicated fans, and 3 rerolls. How are these two teams going to play tonight? I think this is by far and away the hardest matchup for the Dinnerbell Darlings in Division C. This Orc team stands a real good chance against these Dwarves. These Dwarves, of course, very, very slow, very resilient, have lots of block. They have thick skulls, hard to remove these players. And it's Doug the Minotaur coaching this team as well. So you can see he's been spreading out this SPP, getting guard on a bunch of these Dwarves, has Mighty Blow on General So. Kevin Bacon, of course, picking up the block skill as well. I think Gravy Crockett's going to have to put in a lot of work tonight against these Orcs. This is a very resilient Bashy team, but they're going to be up against a very resilient Bashy team themselves, and the team they're up against has the strength advantage. These Orcs have 4 blitzers, all with the block skill, have 4 big unblockers with a strength of 4. That's a big advantage in my opinion, right? So these Orcs, they have a speed advantage. Everybody has a speed advantage over Dwarves. The blitzers are all MA6. Everybody else is an MA of 5. They can use, Old Gamer Mike, welcome to the stream. Old Gamer Mike says, will the Orcs take the new inducement? We'll see. But they have 4 blitzers, so those are their block skills. They'll get their block skill and their blitz. Hopefully for Tizzle Bizzle, that is. They'll get a few more blocks with the block skill. The big unblockers with the strength of 4 can put in some work as well. That Troll Slayer is really the only one that's going to be going up against these big unblockers unless Tizzle Bizzle allows these big unblockers to be marked by a number of players to get that opposing 2-die block, right? It's going to be Doug the Minotaur relying on that Dauntless skill with that Frenzy player. That means that Troll Slayer is going to have to follow up, and that means that Troll Slayer could be in a lot of trouble tonight. This Orc team, so long as they keep their formation intact, they stay in front of these Dwarves, I think they can beat them up, right? On defense, these Orc team just stays in front of the cage. Orcs don't move anywhere. On offense, if they can start to break apart these Dwarves so that they can't group up, they can't get those assists, they can't get those guardsmen in place to lend the guaranteed assist, right? That's where the big unblockers can have a huge effect as well. Big strength 4 player can just start picking off Dwarves. These Dwarves are going to just, they're not going to collapse, but that's going to make them much less effective, especially with that low speed, right? You have maybe a group of 3 Dwarves over here, 2 over here, 3 over here, and now all of a sudden it's like, okay, I can't remove this guy, but I can mark him, and I'm just going to swing out with my blitzer off to the right. You're stuck on the left. forever. You're never going to catch me. I'm going to score. Tough matchup, I think, for the Dwarves tonight. 110K in petty cash going to the Tizz Savage Boys. I mean, I think we'll see a bomber tonight. We'll see. She Wolf, welcome to the stream. She Wolf says, good evening, DD3 fam. Hope everyone is well and having a wonderful Thursday. You as well. Thanks for hanging out and watching some Blood Bowl with us tonight. First game of the doubleheader this evening coming up. This game should be getting underway in just a minute or so here. Did I say a minute or so? That's the right turn of phrase. It's not a turn of phrase. It's just a phrase. I just finished working like 10 minutes ago. All right. Second game this evening that we're going to have is going to be the Birds of a Feather versus the Gutterballs. That's going to be Elven Union versus Orcs. That'll be a fun one to watch as well. Bats versus Adge. All right, still waiting for this game to get underway here. I'm gonna head over to Discord and see if the coaches are ready to go. Looks like we may be missing a coach. See, if you just click around, that makes things happen, right? That's how computers work. All right, I'm gonna pop into Discord here to see if these coaches are good to go. There it is. All right. We're about to get this first game underway here this evening. Looks to be clear skies in this first game of our doubleheader. $110K. I'll be very surprised if I don't see a bomber taking the pitch this evening. It's going to leave $60K left to do something with. Maybe that means picking up some assistant coaches to get that extra re-roll. Well, we'll see what Tizzle Bizzle decides. Could be a well, it can't be a foul if they pick up Bomber. Dribble's not. But Bomber's so powerful. Despite being a secret weapon, having that Bombardier on the pitch for 50K. So Bomber, you deserve more money. You really should be negotiating for a higher salary. All right, 110K. We'll see if Tizzle Bizzle picks up Bomber or not. Bomber gets picked up. That means no bribes will be picked up. Could pick up the new. Could pick up Coach, but I don't think Coach. I think Coach is really only worth it on a dwarf team. Oh, so going for a keg, a coach, and a cheerleader instead here. So it's 20K left. Might pick up an extra of something. It's going to pick up an extra cheerleader. Tizzle Bizzle putting their faith in Nuffle with these cheerleaders this evening. Dropping one of the cheerleaders. Might go in on the extra assistant coach here. Yeah, deciding to take the extra assistant coach instead. So picking up a keg, 2 coaches, and a cheerleader. The keg's going to make the KO rolls a 3+ instead of a 4+. The 2 coaches are going to give you a +2 on the brilliant coaching result for an extra reroll, and the cheerleader will give you a +1 on the prayers to Nuffle table to be graced by the kindness of Nuffle. Maybe. All right. The Dinnerbell Darlings They won the coin toss. They're going to be on defense to start here. Looks like it's going to be 5 on the line. Currently 4 on the line for this defense. Now 3 on the line for the Dwarves. Look to be setting up in an anchor formation against these Orcs. You can see the Troll Slayer in the back of the anchor here. Number 3, Gravy Crockett. Strength 3 has Block, Frenzy, and Dauntless. Dauntless means they're going to roll a d6 added to their strength. If they can exceed the opponent's strength, they can treat their strength as equal to their opponent's strength. That means 1 assist will give the 2 die block. It can be helpful against these the big end blockers here with the strength of 4. But Frenzy means if on a block you push the opposing player, you must follow up, and if that was your first block, you have to take the second one. So the Troll Slayer can roll lots of block dice to try to knock down a player, but it also means that the Troll Slayer can very easily be pulled out of position. Very important piece in this matchup, I think. 4 on the line for the offense. First game of the evening, Bash versus Bash. It'll be fun to contrast that with the Bash versus Adge game coming up just after this, scheduled for 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's UTC -4. Savage Boys with 4 on the line, 2 in either wide zone. Here's the kick. Space Magic, the rookie blitzer, wearing number 7, back to receive. And it's a high kick, so Space Mountain. Space Magic might be able to get under the ball here over in the right wide zone. There's the catch. Well done. Turn 1 now for the Savage Boys. They have the ball on their own 14-yard line, just off the right the right end. Boy, the right sideline. 2-die block on the left defensive end gets a pow out of this. Name of the game for this Orc team is going to be to split up these Dwarves. Keep them apart, keep them weak. Push on the nose tackle. Setting up for the blitz on the left corner of this anchor here. Butch Casserole on the blitz. Gets a push out of it. Or Rambo on the blitz against Butch Casserole. Gets a push out of this. Still has a couple of spaces of movements left with the blitzer. Rambo did not, in fact, get first blood here. Ball's going to move up to the 4-yard line. And a tight cage being set up by Tizzle here. 2 of the big ones on the back of the cage. 2 blitzers on the front. We've got number 8 just off the front right corner of the cage as well. We'll be checking some dice here shortly. There it is. 2-die block gets a push out of this against the Sunday Kid. Had a bowl of cereal for lunch. I feel like this feels like the wrong the wrong decision. Turn 1 now for the Darlings. They've got 3 rerolls for the half. They're gonna move Wyatt Burp right back up on the line, unafraid of these Orcs. So these Dwarves, much like the Orcs, they're gonna want to set up some blocks here, take some marks so that they can get a number of blocks on their follow-up turn. 2-die block on Mouthy Barbecue. Gets the knockdown here. You can see how he has the assist here. Came in on the block, pushed over here. Still marked by these pieces. Two-die blitz against Tizzle Bizzle the second. Gets a knockdown over in the right wide zone, but no armor break. Probably not going to see too many armor breaks in this matchup. Two very resilient teams. You can see AV 10 plus as far as the eye can see. Which, let's be honest, on the Dwarven team is really not all that far. 42 seconds to go here for the Darlings on turn number 1. Kevin Bacon himself in the secondary, playing safety in this first drive. Turn 2 for the Savage Boys. So now they find themselves marked by a bunch of dwarves, but this means that they can take blocks. One of the few I shouldn't say few teams, but well, I am going to say few teams. One of the few teams that can really go toe-to-toe with these dwarves. A lot of other teams are not going to want to find themselves marked by these dwarves, but an orc team could say, you know what? I'll take these blocks. Not a problem. There's one minor teensy-weensy problem, and that's that dwarf linemen especially, they start with guard, or they start with block. So it can be a little tricky. That's what the assistant coaches were for, hoping for a brilliant coaching result at the beginning of this drive, really at the beginning of any of these drives. Try to pick up another reroll. Blitz to start things off against Wyatt Burke. Got a knockdown out of this. Shifting some players over on the left side of the pitch here to get an assist. Rambo is going to mark the big Ragu, number 11 lineman, off to the left side of this cage. 10 seconds to go in the turn. One die block against Soy Rogers will be a both standing result. Soy Rogers playing with a broken arm. What a trooper. Savage Boys spent their blitz at the beginning of the turn, repositioning players. So took the big end blocker off the back left corner of the cage, replaced that player with Little Yoshi 1979, an orc lineman instead, so trying to get that extra strength up and across the line of scrimmage forward in this play to start doing some work. Turn 2 for the Darlings. Two-die block against Timidius the second. Gets a pal. Two-die block against Mutt this time. Gets a knockdown. The big Ragu on the block. Both down result is a knockdown thanks to the block steal. Back over to the right wide zone here. A pal on Tizzle Bizzle the second. $50 seconds to go in turn 2. Each one of these turns is a tough decision, right? If you're going to take the marks to try to get those blocks, you're up against a team that can do the exact same thing to you. You're giving up those blocks first. So do you take your marks or do you reposition your formation? Dinnerbell Darlings keeping a couple of players in the secondary here. Blitzing now with General So. This is the Mighty Blow Blitzer. Gets a knockdown. 9+ breaks armor. Got the armor break. Gets a stun out of it. repositions the blitzer to get a second mark on Tizzle Bizzle the second, and that'll be the end of the turn. Turn 3 back to the Savage Boys. First armor break of the evening's going to be a stun. General Soul on the blitz. Mighty Blow gives you a +1 to your armor or your injury roll, whichever roll you need it for. Two-die block against Queso Bill. The number 8 lineman gets a push here on the wooden dice. But I'm pretty sure not Vegas legal. Knockdown on the big Ragu. Needs a big 10+ to break armor. Oh, and he did it! He did it! One-man player advantage now for the Savage Boys. Doug the Minotaur shocked at the loss of a dwarf. Big punch to the face here on the left side of the cage. The big Ragu. Knocked down, not so big anymore. Tiny little raviolis. Eensy weensy macaroni. Two-die blitz in the left wide zone gets a push against Butch Casserole. That's all right, the big Ragu. You're fine. Everyone loves you still. It's not the size of your pasta that matters. It's how you eat it. All right. Turn 3 for the Savage Boys. They're going to move the ball over to the left wide zone. Moving this ball up to the 2-yard line. One-die block against Soy Rogers gets a push. Soy Rogers has that broken arm. Doesn't matter so much because these dwarves are never going to be passing the ball. Turn 3 back to the Darlings. Two-die block over in the right wide zone gets a pow on Tizzle Bizzle the second. Slowly pushing Tizzle Bizzle the second toward that sideline, but breaks armor. Gets a KO. 10v10 on the pitch. Tizzle Bizzle's son, Tizzle Bizzle the second, removed from the pitch here. That's a disappointed parent. Two-die block against Timidius the second. Gets a knockdown. Paul Funyon on the block here. Big wind-up follows up. No armor break. Now a second mark on Lorax Dream. The number 2 blitzer on the line of scrimmage. Kevin Bacon just hanging back. Doing nothing. Well, he's not doing nothing. He's the last line of defense against these orcs, against this wog. Nobody fries the bacon. Two-die blitz against Mutt gets a pal. Columns set up on the left side of the pitch here. So these columns are securing all of these squares on the pitch. If a blitzer comes in, knocks out one of these pieces, there are still 8 tackle zones protecting every lane down the pitch. It's a very solid defense. With the orcs moving to the left side of the pitch here, Doug the Minotaur, always very good with his formation, says, all right, now I'll start to move in. I'm going to deny you movement to the right. Two-die blitz against Queso Bill gets a push. Minute 10 left on the clock. Still has Tizz still has all of their rerolls. Both coaches with all their rerolls still. I've been playing / replaying a bunch of Hideo Kojima games. I finished Death Stranding recently, loved it. Finished Metal Gear, loved it. Metal Gear 2, loved it. Metal Gear Solid, loved it. I'm replaying Metal Gear Solid 2 now, loving it. I love all these games. I'm going to go through Snatcher. I'm going to go through Police Knots. I'm going to finish all the Metal Gears again. All in anticipation of Metal Gear Solid Delta. Or is it just Metal Gear Delta? I think it's Metal Gear Solid Delta and Death Stranding 2. I'm very excited for those two games this year. 9 seconds to go here in turn 4. And the Metal Gear Solid board game is great. It's great. BB Nut says Metal Gear peaked at the GameCube remake. Welcome to the stream, BB Nut. A lot of people don't like that remake. I think it's great. Twin Snakes. I think Twin Snakes is awesome. I think if you've never played the first Metal Gear Solid, that's a great way to play it. Final turn of the first quarter here. Dinnerbell Darlings on defense. Starting to close in on this offense. 10v10 on the pitch. Orcs did not have a player advantage for long. 2-die block against Mouthy Barbecue. Gets a push. Two-die block. Oh, tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow's Friday. That means I'm going to the Italian restaurant next to the Warhammer shop, and it's going to be delicious. Old Gamer Mike says, I love Metal Gear Solid 4. Did the Big Boss run even? I don't know what the Big Boss run is, but I played Metal Gear Solid 4 and loved it. I wish that would get re-released. I understand why it hasn't been, but I think it's underappreciated as a game. I like it a lot. 23 seconds left in the first quarter here. Dinnerbell Darlings doing a great job so far. Staying in front of these orcs. 2-die blitz now against Rambo. Gets a knockdown here. Wyatt Burp looking for a 10+. Rambo first dud. Second quarter begins. Savage Boys yet to cross the line of scrimmage. They're on their own 2-yard line just inside the left wide zone. Holy moly! You played the game with no alarms and no kills and in under 5 hours. I don't remember how long MGS4 took, but it had to have been for me like I would say 20 hours. Wow, that's very impressive. 2-die block back behind the line of scrimmage here. Gets a push against Paul Funyon. When MGS4 came out, my first gen PlayStation 3 died. And it was under warranty, so I had to send it to Sony. And I let my friend borrow the game, who then spoiled the game for me. I wasn't able to play it for like, it was like 8 weeks or something. .21 seconds on the clock for the Savage Boys. shifting this ball back to the right a couple of spaces, and now back on their own 4-yard line. Trying to give themselves a little breathing room here on offense. Still have a full quarter to get on the board. They do have the speed advantage. Trying to open up a hole against these Dwarves. Very, very resilient team, though. 2-die blitz against Queso Bill. That's not going to cut it. Is a reroll going to be spent or not, though, is the question. I think it will. Yes, indeed it will. There's the reroll. Gets a pal here. Wow, big armor break, too. Got a stun out of it. Old Gamer Mike said you had to skip every cinematic as it has a lot. I think that stands for any Metal Gear Solid game. They have a lot. 1-die block gets Wyatt Burt's not going to work out. Mutt knocked down. That'll be a turnover. Turn 5 back to the Darlings. I think probably MGS2 has the most, and I think it's probably by a wide margin. Metal Gear Solid 2 is like a movie first, and then a game. Knockdown on Rambo. Two-die block against Chelsea Zola. Gets a pal here. Chelsea Zola on the right side of the cage. Getting knocked down. No follow-up. Just keeping this noose tied around the neck of the Orc team. Again, great positioning here by the Darlings. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I intend to replay all of them. Again, even the NES ones. I'll do those last though, because I hate them. They're okay. I hate them as Metal Gear games, but they're okay on their own. Nine hours of cutscenes, of cinematics. Savage Boys on turn 6. They have 3 turns left. They need to start thinking about a way to try to get in the end zone. It can be tough. 2-die block against Paul Funyon. Got the pal here. Might be able to open up a lane on the right corner here. Could open a lane here. Well, not quite. Not with this guy. Yeah, I'll play Metal Gear Solid 2. I won't play 3 because I'll just wait for Delta to come out. I'll play 4 again. I'll play Ground Zeroes and 5. I'll even do Metal Gear Survive. But I'm gonna redo Portable Ops. I'm gonna redo Peace Walker as well. I'll even replay the Acid games. 2-die blitz. General Custer gonna get the knockdown here. Decided to follow up here, so there is no lane. If there was a mark to a positive dodge, that might, I don't know. Old Giver Mike says the Orcs are running out of time. Are they not? They are. They're gonna have to end next turn in scoring position. But I mean, this is a real tough defense to get through. I think the shift to the left that allow these dwarves to just sort of push in probably cost the Orcs a couple of turns. But this is a tough defense. It's going to be a tough defense for the dwarves to get through as well. Tizzle Bizzle on the bonus clock. You get 7 minutes 30 seconds in bonus time every single game. So 2 minutes on the turn clock. Once that time runs out, you can dip into your bonus clock. Just one reroll left for this Orc team. Ball's going to retreat back a few spaces. So the ball now on the 8-yard line. Instead of keeping the cage intact, it's going to try to screen the ball carrier. Sets up a little bit of a pocket here. Turn 6 now for the Darlings. Boot polish, welcome to the stream. Orcs are amazing and dwarves are short. Push on Mutt over in the left wide zone. Pushes them out of the left wide zone. No journeyman on tonight's rosters, so no loners to worry about. To go here in turn 6. Darlings just looking to stop the score here. Haven't really had a shot to get at the ball. Roll a skull against Malt. First team reroll spent by the Dwarven team. It'll be a knockdown. Very methodical, very slow game here in the first half. And I think that makes sense, as both teams are just trying to find a way to really get at the other one. This defense trying to find a way to get at the ball if they can. If they can't, they need to stop the ball. They've done a great job of that so far. The offense, on the other hand, trying to find a way to poke a hole in this defensive formation. Hasn't been able to. Has shifted the ball to the left, back to the right, trying to poke holes in certain points of the formation. Hasn't worked so far. Two-die block against Timidius II gets a power out of this. A number of orcs are going to find themselves picked off here in turn 7. Another skull against Mouthy Barbecue. Gets the knockdown here thanks to the block skill. The Darlings down to 1 reroll for the half. Turn 7 for the Savage Boys. So the Savage Boys not getting a lot of action out of these players. Standing up the down players first. Standing up costs you nothing. There's no die roll associated with it, so it's a guaranteed safe move. Two-die block against Soy Rogers. We'll get a push out of this. Push Soy Rogers away from Chelsea Zola. Has to end this turn in scoring position. Boy, is it even possible? I don't think it is. Let's see, 6, 1, 2, 3. It is. It would have to be a handoff to Chelsea Zola. So Chelsea Zola, the only one who can score right now. Oh, fails the first rush. Has 1 reroll left here. Succeeds on the final team reroll. Space Magic doesn't have to hand off this turn. Oh, no. Space Magic doesn't even... It needs to be 1... Oh, no! It's here, right? Oh, because the dodge... it would have been a dodge otherwise. Yeah, so it's not going to be able to score. I think at this point, maybe just... Yeah, maybe just prepare for the next half at this point. Looks like the Orcs are not going to be able to score here. So the defense did their job. But there is a second half to this game. The Orcs have the speed advantage. They have the strength advantage. Just because they didn't score on their half doesn't mean they can't score on the second half. They can try to get at this ball. It's going to be tough. Tough to do, but they can try to get this ball recovered on defense and win that way. Whoo! 3+ dodge works out for Space Magic. One die block against Queso Bill will be a both standing result. And that'll be the turn. Turn 7 now back to the Darlings. They've stopped the offense. Now, what sort of damage can they do for the second half? Two die block will knock down Mutt, looking for a 10 or a 9+ with Mighty Blow, but didn't get it. Tiger Minotaur put this Blitzer in a great position here to continue to take blocks. Mighty Blow player, you want to be taking blocks with this player. That's your best chance for removal, barring a foul. Two die block on Timidius the second gets a push. This is the number 8 big and blocker. Strength of 4. And now pushed into a whole gaggle, a smorgasbord of dwarves. A dwarvisborg. Gets a pal here. Two die coming up against Bernie Buffin, gets the knockdown. Doug Vinsar has such great action order. I genuinely don't. I have no idea how he does it. Like, obviously the action order is very good, but it's not. It's not arbitrary. Like, he has the pieces where he wants them to be to get the blocks, to have the assists, to follow up and gain ground. Excellent, excellent Blood Bowl player. Turn 15 seconds left in turn 7. Final turn for the Savage Boys. Not going to be able to get on the board here. Got some blocks to take. They'll be up against the block skill, however. Two die block against Wyatt Burp. Not going to matter here. Looking for a 10+. Doesn't get anything out of this. Now a 2 die on General So. Gets a pow. This is the Mighty Blow Blitzer. This could be a huge removal if it works out. Played the Masters of the Universe board game Clash for Eternia last night. It was awesome, I thought. Very good game. It's a skirmish game. It's a 1 versus many skirmish game, so like a tactical war game. Chucking dice, moving guys around. Pieces have tackle zones, basically. It's a lot of fun. And they have so many characters. It's so cool. 2 die Blitz by Soy Rogers. I'm sorry, by Chelsea Zola on Soy Rogers. Gonna get the knockdown here. Whole game basically boils down to the skills that each player, each character has, and they're wildly different. We'll see if we see a pass here for some SPP or not. I don't see why not. Gets a pal against Butch Casserole. Can he get an armor break? Cannot get an armor break. I think the only reason not to pass here would be to just prevent the Dwarven team from potentially doing the same. No pass declaration, so that'll be it. Turn 8 for the Darlings. The Darlings have done their job. 1 turn left in the first half. They're going to try to beat up on some of these Orcs and try to increase their player advantage for the second half of this game. They will be on offense. Two-Night Troll Slayer Blitz has to follow up here with Frenzy, but got the POW. I think this Dwarf team is going to find themselves with in much the same predicament as this Orc team. The Orc team, though, does have that speed advantage. They do have the strength advantage as well. They don't have the skill advantage, and they're down a reroll as opposed to the Darlings. So very, very deliberate first half. Both teams trying to find a way to get some sort of advantage on the other, but the ball barely moved from center pitch, and it's a 0-0 ball game with 10v10 on the pitch. The Orc team now has their opportunity to show what they can do on defense. Might be able to leverage that extra speed to try to apply some pressure on this cage early, but we'll see what they decide to do. Both teams get their full complement of rerolls at the beginning of the half. So 2 for the Savage Boys, 3 for the Dinnerbell Darlings. Savage Boys are going to be down one of their linemen, and the Dinnerbell Darlings are going to be down one of their linemen. So the Savage Boys, with this formation, they have these groups of 3 here. I think these dwarves might try to insert themselves between these groups of orcs. When you're on offense, you go first. You get the first turn of the half. That means you're taking blocks first. You also get to see how the defense sets up first. So 5 on the line for the Dwarven team. They're going to try to block down that line. And I think they're going to try to control center pitch here. Naturally, it's going to be Kevin Bacon himself back to receive the ball here in the second half. Too wide for the Dwarves. Butch Casserole on the left. General Custer on the right. Here's the kick. The Orcs do not have... Whoa, that ball is possessed. And it's a timeout. Oh, boy. Just 7 turns now remaining in the game. Turn 10 for the Darlings. 2-die block against Timidius II. This is the left defensive end. He's going to get knocked down by Paul Funyon. Has anyone told Paul Funyon in the Funyon Dynasty that his snack food isn't all that great? Oh, do you see this? That's a terrible Dwarven hammer. Well, this just looks like a crucifix. Well, it was a Dwarven hammer, I assure you. 2-die blitz against Space Magic gets the push. Yeah, so you can see that Doug Nintar is doing exactly this, where they're pushing into those gaps here, and they're going to try to start picking off these groups. Let's be a little careful with that. pick off these groups. All Gamer Mike says, I think the Dwarves are okay with the draw. They have a large lead in the division. Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. 4-0-0. Top 2 teams from each division will make the cut the top 8, and then the 2 best third-place teams between the 3 divisions will fill in the remaining 2 slots. Turn 10 now for the Savage Boys. Kevin Bacon with the ball. Kevin Bacon on the Dinnerbell Darlings' own 4-yard line. So the Orcs are going to have to be very, very mindful of their formation here. They're in danger of losing 2 players. Yeah, so they're going to come in the front here and try to reinforce center pitch. But by doing this, they've got to make sure they mind these gaps here. Otherwise, these dwarves, if they can open up a hole to funnel through, they will. So they've got Timidius second there, that big and blocker over on the left corner here, trying to cover the left side. Lots of dwarves over to the right. Takes a mark against General Custer to the right side of the ball carrier. Here's the blitz on General Custer. 2-die blitz, fails the rush. Spends the re-roll, got the POW. Savage Boys down to just 1 re-roll for the game. Follows up. And is now staring down Kevin Bacon. Failed another rush. Spends the final reroll to get a mark on the ball carrier. Rushes fail 900. 900% of the time. Spire graciously lowered the rush failure rate from the 900% mandated by the rule book to really a trivial 99%. Turn 11 now for the Darlings. Big armor break here with Mighty Blow. Got the injury too. So that's going to be a second removal here unless the Oppo is spent. 1-man player advantage for the Darlings. 10v9 on the pitch. Spire demanding death and getting close to it here. Darlings down, they're down 2 players, but they're behind on the count by 1. They're going to knock down Little Yoshi 1979, trying to clear out this cage a bit. Kevin Bacon is going to need to get away from Mouthy Barbecue here in just a moment. Currently a 1-die against Mouthy Barbecue. Oh, I was going to implement betting today. I forgot. I'll do it this weekend. Duck and Minotaur trying to figure out what's going to be the plan for Kevin Bacon. Is it going to be a blitz to get Kevin Bacon away? So we can pull in for another assist here, then Kevin Bacon can blitz himself away. But where does he go? Orcs applying some heavy pressure here. Again, leveraging that speed advantage. Got around on the right side, but it looks like is Kevin Bacon going to try to move down here? 2-die blitz. Gets the knockdown on Mouthy Barbecue. This is the corner we were talking about just a few turns ago. If you're going to cover the front center pitch like this, you've got to cover these corners. Doug the Minotaur opened up that lane and has moved the ball across the line of scrimmage to the opposing 6-yard line. Rushes a few dwarves into position, sets up a pocket on Kevin Bacon. Turn 11 now for the Savage Boys. Savage Boys finding a number of their players marked out of this drive right now. Only has 3 free orcs. Home Gamer Mike says it's unfair that dwarves can rush. But a dwarven rush is more like a is more like a brisk walk, really. Wow. He ran at Mach 7. Chelsea Zola, the safety, trying to get back into position to play some defense. But if Chelsea Zola, if some marks or something doesn't happen with this pocket, Chelsea Zola is going to have a real tough time getting at Kevin Bacon. 2-die block against Queso Bill. It's pow. This punches him right in the face. There's a mark taken by number 2, Lorax Dream. Taking a mark on Soy Rogers. Whispering to Soy Rogers. Like, you ever heard of this restaurant? They sell like roast beef. I think it's called Roy Rogers. You ever heard of that? When I was a kid, I loved Roy Rogers. I can't stand it now. But I loved it as a kid. All right, here's the rush blitz. 1-die blitz of the double rush will be a both standing result. Why do you think you can knock down Kevin Bacon? You know why everyone thinks they can knock down Kevin Bacon? He's such a good actor that he stands there and he looks withered and weak, right? He looks infirm. And people say, I could take him on. But no, that's just brilliant acting. Turn 12 for the Darlings. Surf coming up on Rambo. Paul Funyon surfs Rambo off the pitch. Rambo couldn't handle it. Rambo is not a surfer. Rambo is a soldier. Two-man player advantage for the Dwarves now. Rambo thinks he's Kelly Slater. Paul Funyon repositions to take a mark on Shunter USA, so it's currently a 1-die against the big end blocker. Kevin Bacon free to move, but still has to contend with Chelsea Zola. Perhaps the only silver lining in this matchup for the Orc team is the fact that tackle means nothing. we said this was going to be a real tough, I think the toughest matchup for the Darlings in Division C, and you can see why. Tizzle Bizzle has done a great job holding their own against Doug the Minotaur. Doug the Minotaur gets General So in a position to protect Kevin Bacon on that right corner. Final turn of the third quarter coming up. The Savage Boys got aggressive to try to recover that ball. Couldn't get it out of the hands of Kevin Bacon. They're out of re-rolls. They're down 2 players, but still not out of this game. And now a second player is going to come in, take a mark against Paul Funyon. So now a 2-die against Wyatt Burp. Gets a pow out of this, and armor break would be huge. Doesn't get it. Follows up, takes a mark on Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon, once again, can feel the hot, stinky breath of an orc down his neck. Or maybe over the top of his head, really. Two die block against General Custer, back behind the line of scrimmage. Gets a knockdown out of this. Remember, most of these dwarves are MA4, but Kevin Bacon's not. Kevin Bacon is an MA of 6. Two-die block against the Sunday Kid, way off to the left side of the line of scrimmage. Gets a foul here. Taking blocks. Trying to get SPP. This is a way to do it. Doesn't break armor. Or doesn't get a casualty, rather. Did break armor, got a stun out of it. Two-die block against Butch Casserole. Gets another POW out of this. These are not only blocks for SPP, but these are also, every time you knock these doors back, I mean, think about what's happening. They're so slow. MA4, it costs 3 to stand up, so they get 1 movement on their next turn. They only get 4 movement total. Blitz on the ball carrier. It's Kevin Bacon. The audacity to think that she could knock down Kevin Bacon. Pushes Kevin Bacon onto the sideline, though. Very good blitz here by Tizzle Bizzle. We'll see if they can keep this defense together. Really needed to take some risks here. Needs to rely on Nuffle here in turn 13 for the Darlings. Fourth quarter starting right now, but I think this is about the best that the Tizzle Bizzle could have hoped for. I mean, other than the armor break, of course. Blitz on Chelsea Zola gets a push out of this. Will free up Kevin Bacon, and now Chelsea Zola marked. The blitzer will move out of the way, lay down a red carpet for Kevin Bacon. Boot polish with the conspiracy theories. Kevin Bacon on the rush. 2 rushes. Kevin Bacon can do anything. Kevin Bacon now on the 22-yard line. Double pals by Paul Funyon against Little Yoshi 1979. You know why Kevin Bacon can make those rushes? Because of Footloose. That's why. Another armor break. Gets a stun this time on Chelsea Zola. Chelsea Zola tried to knock down Kevin Bacon last turn. Didn't work out. Dwarves in real good shape here. Real good shape indeed. Turn 13 for the Savage Boys. Tie ball game right now, but the Savage Boys have no rerolls left. They're very far behind the ball. They're going to have to risk it all to stop a score. If they can't get it Kevin Bacon this turn, you can bet Paul Funyon, well, maybe not Paul Funyon, but General So will be coming up to protect Kevin Bacon. With 3 rerolls left, I think Dick the Minotaur is going to try to stall this out. But we'll see what happens here on turn 13 for the Savage Boys. They're going to push against Wyatt Burke. Pushing Wyatt Burke to the sideline. So Doug the Minotaur, well, I don't know. We'll see. I'm starting to think Kevin Bacon's not a dwarf. You know what they say, the old saying, the camera adds 10 feet. Failed dodge. Yeah, had to go for this blitz, I think. Didn't work out. Got KO'd and removed from the pitch. That's a big loss. Big loss for the Savage Boys. Turn 14 now for the Darlings. I don't know if the Darlings... they've got Gravy Crockett free. So Gravy Crockett on the blitz. And if the blitz doesn't work out, maybe Kevin Bacon scores. Yeah, there's that blitz by Gravy Crockett. Oh, it didn't work out. Has to spend the reroll. Gets a push. Frenzy follow-up here into a 2-die follow-up. Gets the knockdown, so the blitz is going to work out. That's going to free up Paul Funyon and General So. And Gravy Crockett is done. And that's the protection needed on Paul Funyon. Sweet Bunny, welcome to the stream. Sweet Bunny says he isn't scoring. Easy stall. Yeah, there's that protection on the ball carrier. 35 seconds to go. Savage Boys burned through their 2 rerolls early in this half and then just couldn't make it work. They had a point here where I think the defense fell apart. And it's easy to it's an easy thing to have happen, right? When they came in on the front of this cage, these became the weak points. Doug the Minotaur was able to exploit that weak point to move the ball, open up a lane to this side. And that forced the Orcs to have to make big, risky plays to get this ball. They can't do it, and now the ball's safe. Turn 14 for the Savage Boys now. 3 turns left for them in this game. Great game played by Tizzle Bizzle, I think, especially against such a great coach. Doug Mintar, one of the best records in the league of all time. In fact, it might even be the best record, I think. So Doug the Mintar, great coach, playing a great team. And so I think Tizzle Bizzle played great against this matchup. I mean, I think I could have done maybe 10% as well as the Sork team has done. 2-die block gets Paul Funyon on the, or 2-die blitz gets a pow out of this. Knocks down Paul Funyon. Fails the rush. Rushes fail 900% of the time. I'll keep saying it. That's just math. That's science. Turn 15 for the Darlings. Elder Marino, welcome to the stream. Elder Marino says, I consider holding Doug to a tie or even only 1 touchdown to be a victory. I agree. Spire says, I tried to help him. Kevin Bacon trotting off the left side here. This is a more protected spot over here. So you can see all the Orcs. This is where they are. So this is where the Dwarven defense is. Elder Bruno says, how can we put bounties on players? Is that allowed? I mean, uphill block on Shunter USA, spends the reroll here. Trying to get Wyatt Burp off the sideline, but it's not going to happen. Turn 15 back to the Savage Boys. The last turn they have to make anything happen. They can arguably make something happen. Could have been with number 8, but that would have been wacky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I mean, yeah, the Tizzle Bizzle not going to risk, not going to make stupid risks to go after the ball here and try to get a tie out of this. Just going to take some blocks, try to get some SPP. 2-9 block against General Custer. Gets a pal. Looking for a 10 plus here. "45 seconds left in turn 15 for the Savage Boys. This is almost certainly their last turn of this drive. In fact, I think it must be. Eight seconds to go. One die against Soy Rogers. Just looking for something here. It's not going to get it. Three minutes, 52 seconds left on the bonus clock. No reason to spend it. Turn 16 for the Darlings. They have one reroll. They're going to walk the ball in. Kevin Bacon with another touchdown to his name. No KOs back either? Boy, did Tizzle Bizzle piss off Nuffle? If there is a timeout, these Orcs can conceivably tie this game. If not, that'll be it. Coming up after this game, we're gonna have the Birds of a Feather versus the Gutterballs, Galeshi versus El Nubarino. It's gonna be Elven Union versus Orcs. That'll be a fun one to watch as well. That's scheduled for about 22 minutes from now. We'll keep the stream going. We'll just kick over into our countdown, like as if the stream was just beginning. Dwarves screening out the end zone. Just 8 on the pitch for the Savage Boys. If there's a timeout, they're going to need somebody on the line here to run. Oh, all right. It could conceivably be one of these blitzers here. Here's the kick. Cheering fans. General So with the greasy cleats. That's because Kevin Bacon handled them, man. General So has -1 MA. It's not going to matter. Nothing to do but block down the line here. 2-9 block against Wyatt Burp. Gets a push. Two-9 block again against Wyatt Burp as a push. One more block against Wyatt Burp. But first, the blocks to be taken with the blitzers, since they have the block skill. That's a safer block to take. Blitzers done. 2-die block against Sunday Kid with Timidius. That is it. That is the game. 1-0 the final. The Dinnerbell Darlings remain undefeated in Division C. Very well done. Very well played by both coaches. Oh, you know what? We can do this, I think. Let's see. I think I just discovered this. Yeah, we can look at the statistics now. Hooray! All right, so you can see here, comparable blocks by both teams, comparable running distance by both teams. I mean, this was a pretty even matchup, I think. Like, again, the toughest matchup for this Dwarven team, I think, in Division C. Look at this. The Darlings succeeded on all 8 rushes they took. Boy, oh boy. We can take a look at the die rolls as well. El Numerito says, is that a die rolls tab? It is indeed. So you can see the armor breaks difficult for both coaches, right? Tough to do against these high AV teams. The dice look good. the dice look totally fine. Yeah, I'm glad we can see the stats again. It makes me very happy. But yeah, a very well played game by both coaches, I think. Again, a tough matchup for these dwarves, and I think Tizzle Bizzle really stood up for or really showed that they are the other bashy team in this division, and really played a good game. Not a whole lot of SPP for these coaches. 6 for the Savage Boys, just 9 for the Darlings. Kevin Bacon, of course, with 3 SPP on the touchdown. The Big Ragu, somehow the MVP of the game. This is whoa. There we are. That's where we want to be. So the Dinnerbell Dart, what is happening? Oh, you know what I just did? Check this out. Who are the Blitzburg Steelers? I just gave the Blitzburg Steelers a loss. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. Let's try this again. There we go. Sorry about that. JD Weddy. Hey, there we are. The Dinnerbell Darlings gain their 5th win here in Division C. They look to be almost, I don't want to say guaranteed, but it's looking very good for the Dinnerbell Darlings to make the cut to top 8 here. They have just 3 more games to play, weeks 6 through 8. Tizzork Savage Boys, 1-1-3, still very much not out of it. Remember, the top 2 teams are guaranteed to make the cut, and then the best 3rd place team will also make the cut. So a lot more opportunities to make the cut here in Season 5. We're gonna just go right into our countdown, and then we'll have a short pregame for the second game coming up. Again, it's gonna be Elven Union versus Orcs. It'll be really fun. Stick around, get something to drink, take care of business. We'll see you back in about 10 minutes for game number 2 this evening.